I, as an Indian civilian, truly enjoy life as the years are unfolding, like many other Indians. Why? Because of the growing affluence. We take life things easy and sort of are unaware that we are able to do all this because of three crucial people to whom our gratitude flows strong. The Air Force, Army, Navy. My God, the amount of sacrifice they do, unknown heroes, the work that they do should actually, our blood should be there for them because they are the ones who keep us safe. A whole lot of various valiant stories have been compiled by my good friend Wing Commander Arijit Ghosh, who later brought out, he's a penguin author. Very rarely are you even able to interact with a penguin author because they scrutinize your work, and only if they are of outstanding caliber does it go through the process and ultimately come out as a book, a bestseller. Many stories of valor, courage, sacrifice, and how many lives lost have been all incorporated in this fantastic book called Air Warriors. It is my privilege to be sitting next to Wing Commander Arijit Ghosh, and I call on him, sir, to please highlight to us about the genesis of this book and his various other personal experiences to truly inspire the youngsters who are now coming up.
Thank you so much, sir. It's a pleasure being here, and I'm very grateful for your kind words. I was like any other Indian youngster growing up in Eastern India. And I was basically, I loved to play cricket, and I dreamed of, playing at a higher level, playing Ranji Trophy, playing for the country if I was lucky. And came from a middle class family, so I also had to make a career for myself because I did not have the luxury of falling back on my ancestral riches or parental riches. As far as life was concerned. So I did my graduation. I studied science. I had physics as my honors subject, and I did reasonably well. I was generally okay in studies, I would say. But I spent a lot of time in playing cricket, so I obviously did not probably study as much as I should have. But having said that, I was still able to achieve a decent percentage at my graduation examination. And in those days, in our days, first class graduate was considered to be, to have done well in studies. And I was lucky that I got a first class in my graduation. But I did not want to stop my sporting ambitions at that stage. Having got that graduation degree, I did not want to stop my sporting ambitions at that stage, which usually happens to most middle-class Indians who get into a job at that stage after their graduation or post-graduation or whatever. And that is where their sporting aspirations end, because the job is such that it demands your entire attention, your entire time. And there's nothing, there's no opportunity, no scope for you to pursue seriously playing sport thereafter. So that was one thing which I did not want. I was very clear in my mind that I did not want that at that particular stage. So I had already been selected for the junior state teams in cricket. I was representing the state under-22 team. I had played for the state schools team. I had not yet played Ranji Trophy at that point of time, but I knew that I had the capability of developing further if I kept on working at it. So one career that came to my mind at that stage as a youngster was the armed forces. Because the armed forces, the services as they are called, the Army, Navy and the Air Force put together, they are called the services. The services has a team which plays in the national championship in every sporting discipline. Be it cricket, football, hockey, basketball, boxing, wrestling, whatever it is. So therefore, the services team was a member of the Ranji Trophy as well, which was the national championship in cricket. So I saw that as an opportunity, and that motivated me to join the Indian Air Force. I went through the selection process, which is fairly tedious and very sort of demanding, because the Services Selection Board, as it is called, it runs for 5 days. So there are group discussions, there are written tests, there are psychology tests, there are physical tests, there are group physical tasks which are given, leadership tasks which are given, and all that is being assessed by the selectors from the Indian Air Force who are watching from the sidelines. Now, and once you do all that, once you get through all these tests over a period of 5 days, there's still a personal interview which is to be done with you as a candidate by the President of the Air Force Selection Board on the final day of the 5-day test. So again, that how you perform at that interview again determines whether you're going to get selected or not, because usually in a batch there are anything between 70 to 80 students who are being candidates who are being interviewed and tested. And at the end of those 5 days, you're probably you're lucky if 4 candidates are selected for the next stage, which is a medical test. So in my case also it was the same. We got through those 5 days, and I was lucky to be one of those 4 candidates who were recommended from my batch and sent for medicals. Now, when I went for the medical standards are extremely stringent in the armed forces, and it's not just that they just test you height and weight and let you go. So everything is tested from head to toe, and they found something called a squint in my eyes, which I was not aware that I had, but then the doctor, the ophthalmologist, the eye specialist who saw me, he said, you have a squint, which is a ground for a temporary medical rejection in the medical examination. But he also gave me a solution. He said that there is a fairly simple operation which can be done for this. And if you get that operation done and you come back to us, we can then clear you for and declare you medically fit. So my desire to play cricket was so much at that point of time that I opted for that eye surgery, just because I thought that I cleared this test, and it's only that little bit of an eye problem which is holding me back from my ambition of playing cricket for the services and playing in the national championship. So I went for the eye surgery, got it done, came back to them once again, reported back to the medical board, and they cleared me. So that is how I actually went and joined the Air Force. That was a very complicated process, but I sort of held true to my ambition of joining the armed forces, primarily because I wanted to play cricket for them. Sounds very strange to say that, but that is the truth actually. And thereafter, of course, I went to the Air Force Academy, completed my one year of basic training, and then 6 months of air traffic control training. I was an air traffic controller, and then reported to my first parent unit at Air Force Station Hindon, which is a place close to Delhi. And thereafter, I played in the Air Force Championship and got selected in the Air Force team. Played in the Inter-Services Championship, did well there as well, got selected in the services team, and played in the Ranji Trophy.
Oh, wow.
And once I did that, I established myself. I scored 100 in my first season in the Ranji Trophy. And luckily that 100, my elder brother was also playing for the services at that point of time. And in that particular match, he and I, both of us got hundreds in the same innings. So which is like a
fantastic
thing which has not happened too many times in the history of first class cricket all over the world. And there are maybe only 7-8 such instances, and the other people who have done it, the other siblings who have done it, are all very big names in the world of cricket. So people like the Chappells and the Wars and the Mohinder Amarnath and Surinder Amarnath and so on. So we were lucky that we managed to do that, and it's something that we are very proud of even to this day, and cherish that particular moment. But then, of course, there came a point when I had to stop playing because my work took priority, and I had to sort of at some stage stop playing cricket and get into seriously into doing my professional work, which was air traffic control in my case. So I did that for for the next about many years, and then I served for a total of 25 years in the Indian Air Force. I did a variety of postings in different kinds of appointments, and got promoted through the ranks up to wing commander. And at the end of 25 years, I decided that I wanted to do something else, get out of the Air Force and do something else. And that is the stage when I decided to take premature retirement from the Air Force. And I left the Air Force. I still had another 10 years of service to go at that point of time, and came and joined as the Chief Operating Officer of one of the biggest boarding schools of India with a huge campus, and ran that school. And one of the things that attracted me to this place was its amazing sporting facilities, and the fact that it had an Academy of Sporting Excellence which was built into the school. So the students studied, and they also had the opportunity to attend that Academy of Sporting Excellence, and we had 35 trained sports coaches working there in the school. So it was a pleasure, it was a privilege for me to oversee all that.
And that school was?
This was called Jain International School, so residential school on the outskirts of Bangalore. So I was there for almost 9 years, 9.5 years.
Did we compete with each other? My school, Bishop Cotton's and Jain, I wonder.
We played many times, especially in cricket, in the KSCA under 14, under 17 tournaments. We played many times.
So did your school beat me, or did we beat?
I think both happened. Actually. I mean, sometimes we lost, sometimes we won against Bishop Cotton, and that because we did win the under 17 KSCA cricket tournament, schools tournament. So which meant that we had beaten most of the other schools in that tournament, in that year's tournament at least. So that was my life basically, and I also worked for an NGO for a while, which imparted education to underprivileged children, which was again a privilege and a pleasure. And as far as my writing goes, I have always had, my father was a university professor, so we grew up in a house full of books basically. So we were always either reading or writing something, or right from our childhood days. So that was something which came very naturally. So I just over this entire Air Force journey, I did keep writing things of my own, but never did that on a serious basis. I just jotted down things sometimes. I know, something that I felt about, whatever my feelings were at that point of time. Maybe I wrote about that, or something which I felt strongly about. I wrote a description of that kind of thing. So when I left the Air Force, in any case, when I was in the Air Force, we were not permitted to write, especially in media, magazines and things like that. So we were not allowed to do that. So when I left the Air Force, I certainly had that freedom to go and start writing. So I started writing for a magazine called Outlook, and I wrote mainly about cricket for them. Cricket, and then slowly wrote about other things as well, but mainly about cricket. And to my good fortune, maybe somebody from Penguin read one of my cricket articles, liked the way it was written, and then they approached me to say that, why don't you do a book of stories on the Indian Air Force? So that is how this particular book was born. And when I started writing this, I had no idea about what I would write, what the stories would be and all that. But then I gradually spoke to a lot of people, a lot of ideas emerged, a lot of stories came out. And I was lucky, I was able to speak to a lot of people who had actually participated in those events, in those true events that I wanted to write about. And I had long conversations with them, and some of them were well into their 80s and mid 80s, past that some also. But their memory of those events was absolutely razor sharp. And they could recollect those events even if they had happened 60 years, 70 years ago, in absolute
detail,
clear-cut detail. So I was lucky that I was able to talk to them, and it gave me a very clear understanding
Yeah, yeah.
of what those events were and how they had happened and why they had happened. So I just wrote about that in simple, easy to read language in this particular book. And so these are 10 unconnected stories, different parts, facets of Air Force life, I would say, and from different times of the Air Force history, starting right from the First World War till the present day. So that is what this book is about. And again, I'm lucky it's been received well.
Yes, yes. And don't you feel it's high time that this be made into a movie?
It can very easily happen in today's age, especially where you have these OTT platforms.
Yes, yes.
And all these 10 stories could actually become a
definitely
series.
yes. Yeah.
So in fact, Penguin, when they gave me this contract, writing contract, one of the things that they made me sign was that if they were able to convince someone to make a movie or a series out of this book, it would be, I mean, they held the rights to that basically, although they would pay me a royalty for this thing.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Fair enough.
Which I happily signed.
Yes, yes, yes.
So yes, absolutely. I think a series can very easily happen, or a movie can very easily
Even
happen.
a movie, I mean, how great it will be for the Indian populace to know the untold suffering and misery and the amount they have contributed.
Absolutely. And you're very right when you say that these are all unsung heroes.
Yes, yes, yes.
Basically, no one knows about what they did.
Yes, yes.
They just went and did their job because they were supposed to do it. And neither did they ask for any recognition, nor did they ask for any reward. They just went and did their job.
I urge the audience and a whole lot of youngsters, please read this book, Air Warriors by Wing Commander Arijit Ghosh. Oh my God, it's a privilege and an honor to go through this book, and please do that so that you know the true valor that our air warriors have contributed to your today, sacrificing their yesterday.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I remember in this context, if I may add, sir, we had gone to the northeast. I was posted to the northeast at a place called Jorat, and then from there we had gone on a trip to Arunachal Pradesh to a place called Tawang. Now Tawang is in the right on the border with China. So when the 1962 war happened, the Chinese troops came in from over the Himalayas, over the mountain passes, and came into Arunachal.
Yeah.
And one of the places where these battles were fought was Tawang, basically. So, and in that general area.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of small war cemeteries still there, which have these boards where the names of the people who were killed at that spot in 1962 are still written. And there is one particular write-up which is common to every board almost, which says, when you go home, tell them of us and tell them that for your tomorrow we gave our today.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
sad,
when you stand there in such places, you realize how true those words are.
Yes.
And it's not just any empty statement. It is absolutely something which is heartfelt.
Oh, yes.
That for your tomorrow we gave our today.
Oh, yes.
And when you go home, please tell them of us and say that for your tomorrow we gave our today.
Yes.
So that was something which inspired me to write this book. That such people. Everyone should know about them. They are the real, true heroes of our country. And so that is how. And I'm lucky, I'm fortunate, I'm privileged that the book has been well received.
Yes. Of course, I need to add from my side, because as a doctor, what have we given back to them who sacrificed their life to us? They given their salary and this and that. But what have we truly given back? How many children, young children, wait for their fathers to come home, and ultimately a coffin comes back home? How tragic and sad and painful it is.
Absolutely.
Now, let me make it very clear to whomever, what did I say? When the head is held high, and fear not. My personal take is every single security, the Army, Navy, Defense family should be, we are opening, I do not agree, hundreds of medical colleges and so as it is a very common knowledge that seats and crores and every family of Air Force, Navy, and the defense should be given 2 seats free. Not a single penny. If they are eligible, intellectually, academically, 2 seats free. Didn't that happen in a unique institution, which is my alma mater? All professors were given 2 seats free, up to masters. Have we given that to any of the Army, Navy, Defense personnel? Have we done that? We have not done that. And like a retirement, by chance something goes wrong in the middle of their tenure, how difficult and painful it is for the families to take on, move on. How difficult. Have we ever done that? The people who are in governance, right to the very top, I implore that these things should be looked into and taken due consideration of. So sad that after so many years we talk of something utter rubbish. I will not agree with the crores and crores spent for statues and various. No, I will not agree. This is my personal take. Please look at the Army, Navy, Defense and give back to them what they have given us. It is indeed a touching evening to have Wing Commander Arijit Ghosh and the enormous, huge journey that he has undertaken, both from a sports point of view and as an Air Force official. It's been my privilege to talk to you, sir, and an honor to be sitting here. Thank you so much. Thank you.